Off the beers. That's not even White Claw. I don't know what to
No,
say about that stuff.
no, I've been off the beers. The red wine's supposed to be good for your cholesterol and your belly, so
Oh,
I still have the odd beer here and there, but not too often if I can help it.
no more Michelob either.
No, I'll still drink the odd Michelob. I don't drink Canadian though. I found out the Guinness is actually low in calories.
Really, I did not know that. You figure how thick it is. It's like a meal.
You would think that it's actually not that many more calories than what a Michelob is, and it's delicious and nutritious.
That's for sure. Well, good evening, guys. We're live. Everybody's been waiting. I know we got a lot of people on here. What do we got? 36 already. So we're doing really well. Been a while since we've had a live stream. I figured because Andrew's got lots to talk about tonight, I figured we'd hold off on the guest. And Andrew would actually be the guest tonight. The man himself. And we're going to talk about the 46C. So anyway, thanks for coming on, Andrew. I appreciate it tonight.
Well, I've been looking forward to it. It's been a long time since we've got on and done a live stream. It's been a busy summer, that's for sure. Like with the kids and everything going on, it's really hard for you and I to get something teed up. That's for sure.
Yeah, we try, or you think you'd have a free week and you'd be busy and then I'd be busy and shows and so on and so forth. But now I figure winter coming, we'd be able to catch up a bit more too. So
yeah, we got looking today. We have one free weekend after between Jeremy's wedding and the Paul Bunyan show, and then other than that, almost every single weekend until Christmas there's something going on at least.
That's crazy. Still that busy, eh?
Yeah. Well, I guess it's not a bad thing. I could be bored.
Yeah, well, you don't want that.
No. I don't think I'll catch boredom anytime soon. I don't think.
But yeah, I guess we can plan for starting in the new year then again.
Yeah, well, I'm sure I could probably set aside a Saturday night here and there for you.
We'll figure it out. We'll work on it. We've actually hardly even cut a few messages back and forth, but we're catching up too with each other. So
yeah, we really haven't talked all summer, since probably the last live stream, really.
Yeah, really. I think one or two messages back and forth, and that was about it. Yeah, you're a busy man. I don't want to keep bugging you too much.
Oh, geez. I got time all day for you, Kev.
That's awesome. Well, for anybody new here that's coming to watch these, if you have a question, you'll see what James did. QQQ in front of it, so I know you are asking a question, so I can kind of try to stay up on top of those. So hello, everyone, and thanks for coming out. Appreciate all of you. We got the usuals in here and some new people that I haven't seen before, but thanks all coming out. GP Outdoors is here. Brad, Firewood at the Furnace, Patty, and Jeffrey are here. But we got James. Can't forget James. He's at the cottage. How many of those weekends are scheduled for hunting?
Well, the early November is a touchy time for me. It's I normally wipe out the first half of November just completely. I don't. There's nothing really in there.
That's the same. Hardworking man's here too. Hunting season is king in the fall. Yeah. You guys in Michigan got to do something with those deer too. That's crazy down there.
Yeah, I think they get a lot of them. An awful pile of deer in Michigan.
Yeah. Yeah. Gord, I figured you guys talked all the time. And sometimes we do, and sometimes we have stretches where we don't. And it's Andrews. I knew he was doing the 40C, and he's concentrating on that. So sometimes I just don't want to bother him while he's concentrating on making some awesome products there.
And sometimes I'm just like a hermit and don't really get out much.
Yeah, that's going to be winter. Come winter, we've been slower down, and Well, I guess hockey starts, so I can't say so. That's 3 days a week now.
Oh yeah, you'll be busy with that. We haven't got into the hockey yet. I don't know if we will or not, but
yeah, we got the schedule: Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday, or Saturday mornings and Sunday mornings. And Friday.
I spent an awful time in arena when I was a kid. I think I was probably in the arena every single day from September until April. I'm sure, mid-April.
Yeah, it can be a lot of time.
Yeah,
I know. I have some friends that are the same thing. 3 kids, and they were in there all. They played back. Was it back to back to back? So they were in the arena all morning, all weekend.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I could see that. My sisters, my one sister skated competitively, and Casey was really good at it. And then I just played house league hockey, but I play. I normally play one or two games through the week, and then on the weekend it was either a practice or a game on the weekend too. So there's probably 2 or 3 days of hockey a week at least, let alone skating too. So
yeah. Well, do you want to just dive right into what we're talking about tonight?
Sure, I don't care what we do. I'm easy.
Do you want to get right into questions, or do you got a intro you want to do for it? Explain a little bit and get into questions from there.
Well, like the 40C is like one of those projects. It's kind of been we really wanted to have it done a lot sooner than what it was. Yeah. We were hoping it wasn't going to take that long to do it because a lot of the components are a transfer over from the bigger processor. Like the bottom frame section, the splitters are really close. The Liebig legs are the same. There's a lot of parts that are the same on it, but then there's a lot of things that are a lot different. Like the belt infeed, that was a bit of a head scratcher. Well, not a head scratcher. It took time to do that, right? It's same as like something even as simple as like the log stop and the mechanism of the log stop took some time. The Gage did a really good job on that, and yeah. So there's been a lot of those that come up as we're doing it, and like we get into it, and we be almost ready to hit the go button, and so, oh, geez, we should try this, or we should do that, or what about this, and it's been really good because we've had a really good team of people like Gage and Jeremy and local guy Rick Batoma and Mike Ben, and Mark's had a lot of input on it, like guys in the shops. Like we've just been trying to do this as best we can with it, and it's really cool because it's going to be the first, probably not the first automated processor in North America, but the first one that's been going to be produced on a commercial scale, anyways. So it's really going to take the operator skill away from it, and then guys that have people that are working for them, they should be able to run efficiently without needing to worry a whole lot about it. And then the safety aspect of it too is huge, right? So it's been a good project. We should fire it up Monday or Tuesday, I think. Monday or Tuesday, we should be firing this thing up. We were waiting on one hose for it Friday, which Mike Ben is bringing on with him on Monday, and then we have a little bit of wiring that Rick's going to do on Monday too. That just to get it finished up, and then the coding will start too, right? So like we have a general idea of how the coding and the programming and the computer system on the machine should function, but obviously as we run it, there's going to be some adjustments to make. We have a lot of wood at the yard here right now, and then just down the road, just going up towards the golf course there's a lot in there that has a whole pile of poles, like stuff that's what the machine's made for, right? So we're going to go and split a lot of wood for Mo. I think he's got probably 4 or 5 loads there, and a couple other local people. We're gonna put the hours on it quite a bit here the next couple of weeks. But we have a lot of faith, and we have a lot of like it's the same valving, same control system more or less is what's on the bigger machines. So it's should be fairly straightforward. Honestly, it should be fairly simple. We're gonna change a few things to automate it, but again, all the parts are pretty well the same as what we've been running for the last couple of years, anyways. So
yeah, well, sounds like it's coming. I can't wait to see that video of the firing up, putting that first log through. That's going to be good to see.
Yeah, it will be. It's there's a handful of variables we don't know though, right? Like there's a handful of things that we're not sure how we're going to function. Like the belt infeed. Yeah, that's one that we're not sure. Yeah, like the theory of it, the whole idea of it is to have the smaller logs always be in the one spot because running the 48C, when you get down to that last 3 or 4 feet, if it walks sideways or whatever, you have to screw around to square it up.
Yeah.
So if it were always on the inside of it, it's always going to be in one location. So in terms of automation, it should keep it pretty consistent. And most wood that's in that 5 to 10, 5 to 12 inch diameter stuff is normally fairly straight. It's normally not that wonky. At least if they're firewood poles, anyways. So we're hoping that that's going to be really easy to do, and then the infeed should work really, really well. And the width of it is a big thing, right? Because if you look at one of the smaller pros, actually one of the European ones, the belt's only 6 or 8 inches wide, where this thing is like 14 or 15. It's twice as wide. So if you have a crook in it, it's gonna grab it at some point. The other thing we don't know about is the saw. The saw is the other variable there. We've never run a saw like this. It's not a slasher blade on. It's the same that you find on a buzzsaw and a cracker. We worked with Payne saws. I think Payne is in either Virginia or North Carolina. It's down south somewhere. And Terry's been really good. He's been a really great guy to deal with. We explained to him what we were trying to do. So, yeah, no problem. We should be able to do this. You should need this much horsepower to run efficiently, and everything checked out all right in terms of horsepower and all that kind of jazz. So it should work well for us. It's just, again, we've never done it, so we have no idea whether it's going to cut well, be slow, be fast, whatever. It's a variable we don't know. That being said, there's lots of other manufacturers. You look at the European stuff, like the Paleaxes and stuff, the smaller Paleaxes that run circular saws, like it's the same blade. So that should work fine. Like it's not something that's brand new to the industry or that. It's just brand new to North America. Right? So
yeah, it's when I saw that, my only concern would the belt being on the angle for tracking.
And yeah, we logs wanted to be pulled. I think with the pulleys we have, like they're a fairly big pulley. Like they're a full size pulley, the same as what you'd find. They get sized accordingly to the belt, right? It's not like it's a little wee rinky dink pulley like on a lot of conveyors you see in this industry aren't properly built. They're not built that for the certain size of belt you can have a certain size of pulley sort of thing, and a lot of them aren't. A lot of them, the pulleys are smaller. They're not crowned properly. They're not proper pulleys, and I think that is the big key with doing this, and that's something that we've made sure that we're going to do a good job of that. So
yeah, it's all the belt on there. That's kind of all new, so I have to see how that goes.
Yeah, and it's not like a rough top belt either. It's not like you see a lot of firewood conveyors and they run a rough top belt, which is for all intents and purposes not really that great of a belt. Like they work for what they're doing, but this is more close to what you're going to find on a gravel strainer.
Yeah.
Or something of that sort. They're still not terribly expensive. It's a little bit more money to buy them like that, but at least you know you have a better system or a better belt for a guy down the road, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. We got Mark Wakeland. Andrew, how big of a log can you fit, or will the 40C cut?
18 inches is what it'll cut. So it'll cut just a little bit less than what the 48 will.
Yeah.
That being said, we don't know how it's going to work on that bigger stuff. It might be one of those things where you may need to manually run it and the bigger stuff. But even at that, I think, judging by what I've understood from these saws, it should still be able to perform just fine on that stuff and work well. So,
yeah. And will it have a cab option?
No, we're not going to put a cab on them. No, I won't have an option for a cab. Like, the big thing with this is we're trying to keep the cost low on it. Like that's the name of the game with the 40C. Like, we put a cab on. The cab's a $13,000, $14,000 option. Yeah. So by the time we do that, you're taking a machine that's 105, you're going to put up to 125. Like, once you keep adding that stuff on, it's going to add up. Like, if you look at it, we've got rid of a lot of the features that the bigger machines have. Like, we don't have a log eject on it. We don't have log rollers on it. There's a lot of that stuff that we don't have on the 40C that aren't absolutely necessary, but they do make the bigger machines a little more nicer to run, more creature comforts to them, where this is going to be more of a basic machine to run.
Yeah. And to be honest, kind of where it's sitting, you can rig something up pretty easy, I would think. in the yard and move it around, right?
I seen one guy actually. I think it was a Blockbuster or something. That he rigged up a porta potty around it, and it worked. It looked like it worked really good. So
Yeah.
so it could be dual purpose.
Yeah, that's for sure. You almost need to put like a little round stock on there so you can at least get an umbrella or something in there on the control
Oh yeah,
panel.
for sure. Yeah. We've started doing that on the splitters. We started putting umbrella holders on the splitter so you can just stick any umbrella in them, and then we're gonna get John to rig up a light bar for them. We've done a couple of them before, but it's not something we've been doing consistently or had like proper drawings for. So John's gonna draw that up if if we ever give him a break from the million other things that John engaged to do. That'll be another project for them, which shouldn't take them long though.
Yeah. And this, Brad asked kind of a question I was thinking about. What happens in auto mode if you snuff the blade in that bigger wood?
I would imagine she's just gonna stop, or like with the controls on, as soon as you let go one of the handles, it's gonna stop, and you'll be able to run it manually.
Oh, I guess you're there anyway. That's right too.
Yeah, you're right there. It's not like we're gonna have it run fully automatically. I've seen some of the machines set up like that. Some of the European stuff is set up that you can just load logs on it, but with the wood that we have here, I don't think you get away with it at all. I don't think it would function that well. Yeah. But then again, I've never been around them. I just from my experience of doing it, I think it'd be very difficult to do that and be able to cater to everybody sort of thing. So
Earth Solutions talked to Jeremy about the 48C and was almost convinced that it was the one for me, but thinking about this one may fit us better. What will the price difference be?
You're going to be around $70,000 US difference in them. So it's a substantial amount of money. Like this is going to come in around 105,000 without the conveyor, on 115 with the conveyor on it. So you're going to be about the same price, maybe a little bit more than like a dyno or a brute force. However, you get the circular saw on it, you get the automatic, and you get the joystick controls. So there's a handful of really big differences there. The other thing too is the build quality of it. Not that the other guys don't build good machines, because they absolutely do, but if you look at them, a lot of those machines are machines that weigh 7,000, 8,000, 9,000 pounds. But this thing's 14,000. This is still a machine. This is still a heavy duty machine.
Yeah, 14,000. It's got some steel in it. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And like we looked at like making things lighter on, and every time we looked at it, say what do you make lighter that's not going to bend or break or bust? You need to have that there in order for the machine to last.
Yep. It gets found pretty quick when you made it lighter, or if you make it lighter.
Yeah, we've done that before. When we first started doing Pros, actually, we tried to, like, if you look at some of the early Bell's machines from 2009, 2010, like we've tried to make them lighter, and there's no point in doing it. You just have customers that are upset with you. You may as well sell a quality product at the price point you need to sell it at, so you can service a customer down the road. That's far better than trying to sell something on price and hoping that it lasts. It just, in my experience, anyways.
Yeah, it just ends up backfiring. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Heath, will take the new wedge you just designed, that 16-way.
It should, yeah. I think it's actually going to work well in it. Like looking at it, it's going to be really close to the same tonnage as the bigger machines, like very, very close. In terms of size, all that kind of stuff, I think it's going to work really good. John was doing wedges for it there on Friday. Yesterday at the end of the day, we have almost everything drawn up for it. I think the 16-way and the 12-way are left. The 4, 6, and 8 are already done for it. And again, it won't take them long to do that. It's just a matter of switching over some of the parts from the bigger machines there. So,
Garney, are you using the ICANN controls for the auto control?
They will be. It's a CAN bus system. I have no idea exactly what it is. It's the same as what's on the bigger machines.
Yeah.
I think it's maybe like a generation or two ahead of the bigger machines actually. So it's a little more sophisticated, but same idea.
James, how do the controls differ between the 40C and 48C? Is a 48C joystick controlled?
There's not near as many functions on the joystick of the 40C. Even you want to run it manually, the only thing you have there is your wedge lift, your live deck, and then your splitter. That's all that's on the one joystick. And then the other part of it too, we're going to change a little bit of how the machine actually functions when you run it. So like when you make a cut with a 40C and you let go of the joystick for the saw to come back up. So as soon as you let it go, the saw is going to retract up to its teach point. And then ahead of that, there's actually a sensor ahead of the log clamp that tells the saw how high it needs to go. So it'll have its own teach point. So it'll come up. It'll have an offset of like 4 or 5 inches from the log. That's where it's going to come to. So there's a handful like things like that we're working on that should be fairly easy to implement and really improve the function of it. That it really doesn't take a guy with a lot of skills or an operator with a lot of skills to operate this thing efficiently.
So would that automatically picks up that log height then, and automatically does the teach? Would that be able to put on a 48 or 60C?
You'll likely see that in the future from us. So we're going to try it on this, and then it's the same as the automatic. So this is kind of being our test dummy for doing all this stuff, and again, like we think we should be able to do it fairly easily. Like between all of us putting our heads together, we think it's not going to be anything terribly complex. Like, I'm pretty confident by midweek we'll be making fire with this thing pretty rapidly. So
yeah, it'd be nice to have that automatic, but be able to bypass to get all the way up if you had to, right?
So that's what's going to happen with the saw is going to come up, Kev, to the bypass point or to the teach point. And then after that, however far you move it manually, that's how far it's going to move.
Yeah, okay.
The clamp and the saw will run in sequence in that event then.
Gord, I don't think that I'll be hauling that with my Tacoma.
You'll have to put a couple airbags in the back of the Tacoma, Gord.
No, airbags for sure.
Yeah. You'll likely still see us come out maybe a bar saw on that 60-70 range, but it's hard to get there and not dilute the brand. Like we've spent a lot of time building the brand of Eastimate as heavy duty industrial grade equipment. I don't want to dilute that with a poor quality machine that's not going to live up to the name, right? So
yeah. The other thing I did notice too, you don't have the log, the rollers in the chamber.
We won't have log rollers in it. Like when you're sitting in the controls, like the chamber's literally right there.
Yeah.
So like as soon as you let go of it, like and like the nice thing about it is when you let go of the dead man switches, it's same as hitting an emergency stop. So you can reach in there and turn it, go back, and continue on. So it's in terms of safety, it's really good. And that way it's right there. If you need to resplit something, throw something back in, it should be fairly easy to do that.
Brad, snow and ice on the belt. How do you think it will work in those conditions?
What I think is going to happen with this is I think it's going to work fine. The one thing I think guys are going to have to be conscious of is a belt freeze into the bed. So I don't know whether we have to stick a couple of sticks in it before you leave at night, just to hold the belt off the bed to keep it from freezing. That being said, on a night where there's not a lot of dew, you're probably not going to run into too much of an issue. It's going to be those days where there's a heavy fluctuation in temperature, where there's going to be more moisture in the air that you're going to have to watch this. So the other thing we've done, if you look on the inside of the belt track, there's slots in there for water drainage. So any kind of water, snow, anything like that is hopefully going to drain out those holes. But I think that's something that guys are going to have to pay attention to when they leave the machine for an extended period of time. Or again, if it's a cold day, warms up, it goes cold overnight, you'll have to maybe put something in there and just lift the belt up off the bed. But I think that's about all you're going to see all you're going to run into. The other thing that we want with the belt is the ability to have it slip. That's the other part of it. That was the other reason for going with the belt, is when it comes to log stop, if it's automatic and it's running a chain or something with a positive drive like that, it's not going to be pretty. You want to be able to have it hit that, and if it wants to keep going, at least something's going to slip, and hopefully it's the belt.
Yeah. And that makes sense, yeah. And the other good thing too, that belt being on an angle, because the original picture, I didn't realize that's how it was going to be, but being on an angle, everything's should be running off and away, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, that's exactly it.
Brian wants a 16 way to put to the test.
Well, he'll like it. They work good. They work. I'm really that 16-way box wedge, that bundle wedge, Kev, works awesome.
Yeah,
I've seen the other ones run it. There's a guy not too far from us here that runs a couple of them, and after seeing them run and seeing them function, they don't work near as well in the real world as what you think they do. When you see the videos, I'm like, oh man, that works so good. It's nice having everything open up, and it looked like more of a pain in the ass than what it was worth. And like we got this one set up, the 16-way bundle wedge set up, and like it didn't matter whether the wood was small, large, punky, whatever. It all pushed through it and pushed through it really, really nice and made nice looking wood. The only thing you had to pay attention to is the cover that's on the top there, Rachel. Yep. You got to make sure you don't have something a little bit too big that jams in there. So
that's funny. I was thinking about that, and I'm like, but the chances I had that happening, you'd have the wedge up, and it shouldn't happen. So I guess apparently it does.
Oh, it can happen. It can happen.
Yeah, that's what welders are for.
Ethan, Rachel, cut that out of the video. Oh, Rachel doesn't know what I'm talking about. I won't mention it then.
Oh,
it does work really good though. If you're paying attention to it doing raising up and down, it keeps all the blocks from flipping back. It works really nice.
Bert, is there a cookie eject door?
No, there won't be, but you're going to be like right there at it. So if you need to pull a cookie out or whatever, it's no problem at all. It should be easy to do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Back to that 16-way. I've had somebody ask me, would a 37D run that?
I've had several people ask me that, and we're going to try it someday. I don't know when we're going to try it, but we are going to try it. But I don't know. It should work. It should. The biggest thing we're going to run into is the wings on the bottom out where they come down. We're going to have a tray with a cutout or something of the sort so the wings can drop down below that. So they're, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 inches long. I'm not quite sure there, but they're going to be down below the pan. Anyway, and they have to be, because the thing with that wedge is the bottom wings are angled down a wee bit. So if you don't have them down low when you're cutting small stuff, if the small stuff gets underneath that, it keeps raising it up. So you have to have it low enough that you're putting it through there. And with the new beam design or whatever, most stuff that's on the bottom falls right out of it immediately anyways. So
yeah, I didn't even realize that. I guess that's the difference between those machines or the beams, right? Between the chamber and a processor to a splitter.
Yeah, that's going to be the biggest thing with it, is just that. And I think that should be something fairly easy to overcome. It might just be a special pan we need to manufacturer make in order to achieve that, right? So
yeah. Be willing. What are the conveyor options for the 40C?
Exact same as the big ones. You get the 16-foot attached, and it's the same as the big machines, or the 16, 24, 32 standalones.
And then saying, we just kind of went through what splitting wedges are available for the 40C.
With the 24 ton, it's going to be 4 and 6-way. With the 37 ton, it's going to be everything up to the 16-way.
Yeah.
And we're even playing with the idea of being able to make it so that it the same beam will accept both cylinders. So if somebody wanted to buy a machine and keep an extra cylinder and pusher there for a 3,724 ton, they may be able to do that.
Huh.
So they're playing with that right now. So it's going to be a little bit more money, but depending on what you're into or what you're trying to do, if you're into small stuff, it'd be nice to have that cycle time. Where if you're into big stuff, it'd be nice to be able to have the power to push the big stuff through and run that bigger wedge, or if you're doing bundle one to run that bigger wedge. So I think I think that's something that they're going to be trying to do here the next week too, is organize that so that'll work out.
Yeah. For the saws, will these, since they don't have replaceable shanks, I saw they had carbide tips.
Mm-hmm.
Will they come with a spare saw or like a spare blade?
I think we're going to try and do that. The blades themselves aren't terribly expensive. Blades themselves are $700 or $800, so they're not.
That's not too bad. No,
and if you need to get one like retipped or whatever, you should be able to send them out to any saw shop. They should be able to retip them, refurbish them, sort of thing. Like any place you'd normally sell something like a miter saw, something that should be able to deal with these saws. The other thing with that too is like I've talked to a lot of guys, done a lot of research on those saws before pulling the trigger on this.
Yeah.
And I've talked to lots of guys that say they've got 2,000-3,000 cords with these things that touching them. So
it's
depends on what you have though too, right? You know yourself, like you go 2 blocks and hit something else, right? So
yeah, it's one of those you can hit 20 nails in a year and never have to change a tooth. That's not a big deal. You hit a gate hanger and you can take every tooth out. Right. And then 100%. Right. To have that spare blade, you can just change it. It's not
and they're not heavy either. Like it's one of those things that a couple of guys get rolling on.
Yeah. Yeah. That was one thing I saw. I didn't realize they were carbide tipped. I thought they were just a steel, like a steel blade, like the old school slasher, but having those tips would be handy too.
Yeah.
What's the expected time that a 40C will be available to buy?
The one that's in the yard sold. It's going to the Paul Bunyan show and it's already sold. So if you want to buy a 40C, you call Jeff, Jeremy, or Mark, and they'll fix you up.
Well, there you have it. You can get it whenever. And
we're about 6 to 8 weeks. If you order one now, you'll be about 6 to 8 weeks. I think like all things go half decent. I think that'd be a realistic timeline on them.
And who do you call again for that?
You're going to call Jeff, Jeremy, or Mark.
Okay, Jeff.
Those are our sales reps. So Jeff Ormiston is in here somewhere. He is a sales rep for Eastimate. So give Jeff a call. He will look after you. And then Jeremy is right at the shop. And then Mark Joannis does a lot of the outside sales in Ontario, Eastern Canada. So a lot of guys will know Mark now too. So
yeah. He was in the yard Thursday or Friday, I think.
He's a great guy to visit with.
Oh yeah, he was great.
I talk to him all day. He's a great guy to be around.
Yeah. And those that don't know, Jeffrey Ormison, he is their new sales. You can probably explain it better.
Yeah, right down there. So Jeff is the outside sales rep for south of the border. So if you need something, you give Jeff a call and he will fix you up. He's going to be looking after the processors and the bigger stuff, and Jerry with the G is still going to be doing the splitters. So
yeah, and if you're in any of the firewood groups, you had to have seen Jeffrey come up, his name come up. So hit him up; he can help you out.
And if you haven't subscribed to Mountaintop Outdoors yet, go ahead and do that.
Yeah, Mountaintop Outdoors is his channel. That's why I have it up there. So him and Patty run that channel and their firewood business there as well. Gord. So what are the dimensions, width and length of the new unit?
The machine itself is 35 feet long, and it's going to be 101 wide without the live deck folded down. So with the live deck, I think it's probably around 12 feet. I think that would kind of be realistic A-cup. And then whatever length conveyor is off the back of it. So standard attached conveyor is 16 foot, 24 foot, or 32, right? So
Yeah, you're because that live deck the same as the 48 son, like the
Exact same.
one?
The footprint of the machine, Kev, is almost identical.
Yeah, so you need some room, right? You're running an operation.
Especially move wood around and stuff. And
yeah, you can fit them in a small area, kind of a small area, but you need room. You need to move logs. You need room to put wood. So, like it reminds me of like a 4000. Like
it's very similar, like same, very very similar. Like we did a lot of the stuff in the 4000s on this machine.
Yeah, 4000 done like a 3000 bar, like or even the smaller one. Dan at Buckin, call any belt shop. They'll have spray to keep it from freezing.
Oh, there you go. Learned something new today.
Yeah. I'm guessing even like any methyl hydrate or anything.
Yeah, I would think.
Wouldn't make a slick and with thought.
Yeah.
Rachel, I have audio proof. It's not, it was not told to not pull the trigger.
No, it was
the means the same thing. Don't do it.
Have you ever seen that? Where the hell is he from? Fuck. He's from overseas somewhere. I want to say he's Finnish comedian, and he goes on about the English language or whatever. He speaks perfect English, or really good English. He's got a little bit of an accent, but he goes on about like little things like that. And it could be this or it could be that.
Yeah. Well, it's like A.
Oh, absolutely.
Means yes. End of a question. An answer.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Very, very diverse word.
That's right. Brad, in auto mode, what happens if the log is going to contact the saw during infeed?
It will not, because there's a sensor upstream from it that tells the saw how high the log is. So it has an offset that it's always going to be 4 or 5 inches above that. And then you also have the log clamp there. So if it's going to have like a big burr on the one end of it, it won't slip onto the log clamp. So I don't think that's going to be too much of a concern for us. So
yeah, you got to have all those fail safes, and all of a sudden you have a sensor here is picking up for the saw instead of just how high it is too, right?
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. It's one of those things. I think when you really get down to it, it's really not that complex. It should be something that's going to be fairly easy to put together. Just give the sequencing to get it right. And I think we're right on track with it. So,
and people have to remember, because you hear auto, like auto cycle or auto mode, and you automatically think no one's there watching.
Yeah,
so they're holding.
You still have to be at the control.
You're still literally right there.
Yeah, it's just more or less a time. You know yourself, you get a new operator on there, it's really hard to get the timing right.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things until you get some hours of seeing and experience with it. And that's typically where things go wrong, is when you first get it and you don't know how that sequence goes. So with the automatic, it alleviates a lot of that, I think. So
yeah. I shouldn't have agreed with that with the new operator. No one's run ours. Except Brad. Brad actually is the only one. But yeah, you're right. It gives them time to figure it out.
And it's one of those things too. Like a fiber processor is a simple machine. It does a simple task. It's a simple piece of equipment. However, there is a handful like little tricks to it and skills as you run it that make it so much easier to do it. And until you get that honed in, it's I would think it'd be a lot like running a sawmill. A sawmill is a fairly simple, basic piece of equipment, but I know if you gave me a sawmill, I'd make you a lot of firewood with it. So,
oh yeah. Even sitting there and watching, is when you get on the controls, you're like, oh, now I got to think about this instead of just watch.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. Yeah.
Sandy's in the house. How you doing, Sandy? Not sure if it's a coincidence or not, but I have noticed a lot of used processors for sale, non-Easton made brands lately. Maybe a bunch of orders coming your way, Andrew, for the new processor.
We have an awful pile of people lined up for this new machine that are chomping at the bit to get it. And again, I guess it was just one of those projects. We were hoping to have it done like late spring, early summer, and it just, again, it was one of those things we just looked at. Oh, we should try this or we should do that, and it's it's turned out really good. It's one of those things we didn't want to really get into too much of a rush. We wanted to get it right, and it's perfect to have something new and exciting for people, or so something that's going to function really, really well that hasn't been on the market in North America yet, right? So,
yeah, because when you first started talking about it, it was exactly how you said it was, and then all of a sudden it was going to be automatic, and that started rolling out. I'm like, this is going to the next level.
And once we got into the automatic thing, it's like, well, fuck, the chain in feed might not work for that, so let's try the belt, and then we should try and do it this way, and like the log stop, and a lot of that little stuff, like to design that takes a lot of time to do that. And like, if you look at the log stop on, Gage's got it set up. The pole has a tab on it, so it'll tell you how far it is.
Yeah,
from the saw. Like there's a couple like little like simple little things like that we try to deal with it to do a really, really good job of it. And like Gage has kicked ass. Like he's pretty well been the sole designer on it. We've kind of put ideas in his head, like we want this and we want that sort of thing. And John's been a big help. Jeremy, like it's just one of those things that it's everybody sitting down and like, this is the way we should do this. So
yeah, and that's the way it's got to go. You got to take all those ideas in, and
for sure. Like I've been known to be really stubborn with stuff, and like I give that up. We'll try it.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta
do whatever the guys want. We'll at least try it once.
Yeah. Where'd my mouse? There we are. Old Guy Firewood. How much slower is the cycle time with the 37 ton?
Well, you think 24D or 37D? That's the exact difference, and it's the exact same pump on it. So on that note, it's going to be about a second and a half, 2 seconds slower going to the 37 ton. That being said, the 24 ton is going to cycle in like 3 seconds. It's going to be as fast as the big processors are faster.
That's quick.
Oh, it's very, very fast.
Yeah. Yeah, that's but you need it. Run small wood. That's what you got to be. It's got to be a quick cycle, right?
Well, that's the thing we found too. Like over the last, I guess we've been doing this for 15 years, probably. Like the process with bells, and we're probably about 15 years into this, maybe. And that's what we found with it too. Is like with technology and forestry and the equipment that's available, and the equipment the guys are running now, like. A harvester head, it makes it really easy to take the top down to 3 inches, right?
Yeah.
Like it makes that process a lot simpler rather than having a guy running down a hitch with a chainsaw and topping it at 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the difference in it right there. It's just the technology that's available and what's happening. So a lot of firewood now, if it's not going for pulp, it's typically smaller wood now.
Yeah. And we're going to see some Northern Ontario, well, not even quite Northern Ontario, but Espanola, they're having their mills shutting down.
Yeah.
Or will be November.
Yeah, we were in Espanola for lunch there on last Sunday. We went in Espanola for lunch. Oh, that's a big spot.
Yeah,
that's huge. That's the first time I actually come off the highway in to see we went for lunch at the McDonald's there or whatever. But that is a huge operation there. That's massive. And like you're gonna see that too. And we found that with firewood markets right now, that a lot of guys are making a really good go at firewood right now because saw logs aren't worth a whole lot. It's hard to get rid of your pulp. So the firewood seems to be a big thing right now, especially with the economy the way that it is. Inflation and stuff like that, it's a lot cheaper to burn wood than it is to buy fuel and everything else, right? So
Yeah.
I think this winter is going to be a really, really good year for a lot of firewood guys. And typically, what we've seen is when that happens, it's a 2 or 3 year run of it, and then it softens, and then you kind of get into the campfire wood again, and it's, or at least that's what I've seen with it. Always kind of fluctuates like that between camp wood and home heat wood, and I think that's what you're going to find here in the next couple of years too. So.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it keeps on going. It's like you said, the sawlog market is really taking a shit right now, and yeah, it's tough to even buy timber. There's no point, right? There's no one's winning.
No, it wouldn't make any sense at all to do it right now.
Yeah. So, luckily enough, we have some, like ash is doing all right still, but beyond that, it's, you don't want to get into any hard maple or anything. That's for sure.
No.
Could you put a box wedge with a pullback arm?
Yeah, no. Can you? Yes, you can. You absolutely can. I can't. You can. It can be done, but I'm not doing it. If you want to do a little bit of playing around, it's easily done, but I cannot sell it to you as such.
Yeah, there's a patent held by another firewood producer company.
Yap has got the patent on it, but if you want to buy a box wedge and you want to buy some parts and make it hook up the pusher, then you do what you want. It's not going to be, and again, it's not a very extensive modification if you wanted to do that. It's a very, very easy modification to make.
Yeah. I figured that question was going to come for that.
We've seen a couple of guys do it on the bigger machines, and it's pretty cool to see, especially like if you're into big wood, like who the hell did it? Dave. I was trying to think of Dave's name. Dave did it, and Ed Rurup's got one on his too now. And it's really cool watching big wood go through them. He's like, you get a 60C, and you can do 20, 22-inch wood with, like, under the saw easily. And to see the stuff come in and out of the box wedge, it makes really nice looking wood. So if you want to do it, yes, you can. I can't.
But then that's what the 16-way is replacing too, right? Really? That's
exactly. When you get into that 16-way wedge, it eliminates the need for the box wedge, honestly, because it makes as nice or nicer firewood in 3 seconds or 4 seconds instead of 20.
Multiple
huge
passes.
Difference in performance. Report, like big difference in it.
Glenn, Andrew, what method does Drew use to unload a 24-foot conveyor?
That's a good question. I never said I had the answer for it, but it was a good question. It depends. It really depends on the situation. If he's bringing a processor to you, we will unbolt it, like unbolt the axle from it, and it will slide under the processor. It fits perfectly under there, and then you just have to bolt it together. For some reason, it's you're getting one that's on separately. We can normally put it on the trailer, put splitters around it, sort of thing. So the biggest thing with a conveyor, it takes up a lot of deck space, right? So it's very expensive to ship one. So we try to do it as efficiently as possible. So
the more you can get on there, the better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Gord missed this. Somebody else may have. So what is the maximum width logs it can cut?
18 is the maximum on it. Like, ideal with this machine is going to be somewhere from 6 to 12 inches up to 14 maybe. So that's going to be like the ideal perfect size for that. That's what the machine is designed to do, but it will do up to 18.
Yeah. What's the smallest it can do?
The beam or the log cradles are 4 inches apart. So you're going to be able to do probably 3 and center it easily on there.
Yeah.
So you can do some fairly skinny stuff.
You can do on the 40AC. You can do some real small stuff too.
Yeah.
Not that it just happens to get on there, but you can get down to that 3 inch. or so on there.
Bert and Chris, what they found when they get in the really small stuff, they put 2 in at a time, right?
Yeah.
And then the 8 wave, just because the way the wings are in the 8 wave, you get something that's 4 inches or 5 inches, you can get them side by side in there, and then it splits off the bottom wings on the 8 wave.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed them doing that. I found they don't fall the same on a circular when you have 2 in there.
No, they don't. No, it's a little. It is a little bit different. 100% it is.
Especially if it doesn't hold it right.
Yeah,
it's bad news on a circular.
You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Firewood Doctor, how are processors transported for delivery? Flatbed or towed by a 1-ton or bigger truck?
Typically, whenever we send one out, it's on a flatbed. That's how we do it. So it's set up like most people will have Drew's truck set up with a set of ramps on it. It's nice to have a berm or a dry dock for it, like pulling it down the ramps. The ramps are just a little bit too much of an angle. Alex Mullally actually made him a couple of plates to go underneath his one set of stands there to help that out a wee bit. But typically that's how we would do it. And then like a lot of guys that are buying these things have equipment around it. So to make something to just drive it off or ledge or something, it's very easy to do it that way. And that's how we do it at the shop. We have a dry dock that's the same height as what the back of the flatbed is. We just drive it off the end of it onto the truck. We can load one in 5 minutes. It takes no time at all on our end of it.
Yeah. Usually, like if you have a equipment dealer near you, they'll have a dry dock. That's how we moved our old 4000. We went to our local guy and they loaded it for us and everything.
Yeah, no, and that's what we found too. Like more often than not, there'd be a dry dock locally if you look around to an equipment dealer. They normally will always have them. That's how all the tractors and stuff come is on a flatbed, and it's and like you can't tow it with a 1-ton. It's just we don't get into it a whole lot. Like with the processors, like the DOT and stuff classifies them as occasional use, so you don't really need anything to go down the road with them. You take it right down the interstate and not have too much of an issue on that end on the processor part of it. However, the laws, the signage and markings and stuff on the truck, and every state seems to have a different set of rules. Every county, so we just don't get into it anymore. We send everything on a truck now.
Yeah. Ed, are you bringing me a 16-way box wedge to Bunyan?
I'm not quite sure what Jeremy's got planned for Ed. I have no idea. I know Ed's been looking for one, but I have no idea what the plan is there at all. If I knew Ed, I'd tell you.
Yeah.
I just stay out of the way. I just go to the office there and let people do their job. Whenever I intervene, it doesn't turn out as nicely. They just tell me to go away anyways. So
Rachel said, "Oh, okay then." After I did it.
It was pretty funny, actually. I got a pretty good chuckle out of it.
What else is he supposed to say then? You went, okay then. And Mark Jonas, we were talking about you earlier. He's part of that sales team.
Yeah, Mark is the outside sales rep for Eastern Canada. He does a pile of stuff for us. He'll be at the shows. If you need anything from Mark, ask him. He has if you're watching, Mark has his business is forestry. So if you were looking for a used firewood processor anywhere in the world, almost, Mark is the guy to call. He will look after you. He knows where every single processor is in every single corner of the world. So if you're looking for something used, Mark is your man. He will look after you. Yeah.
And he's a great guy to talk to.
Oh, fantastic guy to talk to. If you never get bored talking to Mark.
Earth and Bloom. How will one go about getting a demo day for 40C? Lots of dairy farms with money at our charity split in the winter. That get our 40 cord done a little quicker in the morning.
Oh, I'm sure for Ruben, I could probably make an appearance for Ruben. I'm pretty sure I could.
Because is he not down our way?
Yeah, he can't be too far from us. I want to say he's down. I want to say the Niagara region maybe, but Could be wrong. He might even be on this side of the city.
I can't. I'm sure he said before. I cannot remember. Jeffrey, have you solved your engine supply issue for the log splitters, or still exploring developing your own small gasoline engines?
Yeah, everything's been good on that end of it now.
Yeah.
Like even when it was, the V twins were a little bit tricky, but even by the time that we got like the backlog of them in, the supply chain's been good for them now. Not too much of an issue.
Yeah. And somebody brought up the little log splitters. You have an update on that too. If people didn't catch your video on that, which I'm surprised I haven't seen that question asked, on wait times.
Oh, we're like six to 8 months on a splitter right now. Like that's a realistic timeline on it. I don't think we'd be any longer than 8 months, and I don't think we'd be any less than 6. So that's like even the guys that ordered them at 14 to 16 months, they're going to get them before that.
Yeah, you've really cut that in half, basically.
Oh yeah, no, it's come down a lot. Like, we've got a lot better organized. Like stuff's running really, really, really good to this shop, and like it's been a lot of work to get it there. But like the team that are at the shops have been doing an awesome job of it, keeping stuff flowing. You're still running the odd hiccup, but you're not ever going to alleviate that ever. But stuff's running really, really, really good. So
that's good. Things seem to be getting on the smooth now. Ted saying, evidently Skidder Kev has PTSD from the gate hanger experience. Yes, I do. And I was actually at that same place a month ago, and it's just, I hate going there. It's going to happen again.
It's never ever fun when you do that. I sent a GoPro Hero 7 through a processor there about 2 months ago. It was I had a magnet on top of the pusher, and it was just in the right perfect spot and like the right timing and stuff that when Jeremy dropped the saw, he caught the very top of it. And like the only person that noticed what happened was Jeremy. He's like, "What the fuck was that sound?" And it ended up being the GoPro. There were chunks of magnet all over the machine.
I guess you weren't able to save that footage.
I wish I was. I don't know why I didn't save it, but I got it on the other camera. It was pretty funny because like Jeremy's eyes were that big around.
We have Mike Morgan's in the house. Good evening, gents. Just came in for knocking some trees down under the lights. Fall is here, and I'm loving it. It's cooling down, that's for sure, Mike.
It is, and it's nice. It's nice that it's fall. Fall's my favorite time of year. It doesn't get better than that.
Yeah. Another one from Brad. If a sensor fails or is unable to see, will the machine stop, or is there a service code that comes up?
I would imagine the machine will just stop on it. Like there's going to be a handful of fail safes there, but we'll make it. The machine won't hurt itself in any way, shape, or form. So, and again, you still have the option to run it manually too, right? So that's the other cool thing about that.
And that's kind of what you want. If you can't run it in auto, at least you can continue to run it manual if one of those fail.
Yeah.
So, C. Baker, grape Kool-Aid tonight?
Absolutely. I've got to watch my figure and get my cholesterol in check. We were talking about that earlier.
Gord, if someone is building a firewood business, at what number of bush cords or full cords should someone think about making an investment into a 40C?
Really depends on the individual, honestly, and the cash flow and capital they have to invest in it. Obviously, if you have the capital investment process, you're going to grow your business substantially faster, drastically faster if you have the capital put into it. Normally, I'd say probably 400 or 500 full cord a year is kind of where you'd want to be at to get into a processor of any substantial size.
Yeah. And yeah, like you said, it's all cash What you got?
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. We have lots of guys that do a couple hundred full cord a year, 100 full cord a year, and and do very, very well with them. And in that respect, it's a tax write off, and it's a piece of equipment that generates a pile of money at a time where typically most businesses in this industry don't have a lot of cash flow. So it really compensates or complements most fire like logging business or tree service businesses, right? So
yeah. And if anyone's wondering, Buck and Firewood, he bought a 4000, a Bell's 4000. So he may have a Multitech 2025 going up for sale soon. So he's got a YouTube channel. You go and follow him. If you want to get in contact to him about that, go over to his channel.
Cool. Well, that's awesome news.
Yeah. Bert, Kev, are we going to do a processor challenge at Bunyan? Well, I don't know. We'll have to see about that.
Well, the 40C and 60C will be set up side by side. They'll be one next to the other. So
we'll need that left-hand control.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, you'll be all mixed up trying to run the right hand.
Oh yeah, that's just it won't be good.
Throw you for a loop.
Yeah, hardworking man. Bert, are you going to sabotage Kev with a gate hanger in the competition?
Doesn't even throw it near the side. He bounces it off your forehead or something.
And Bert, you're right. A little competition is good. There's nothing wrong with that. Fuel consumption. That was actually one of the things. Money saving and fuel savings in this machine.
Without running it, I have no idea, but I'd imagine you're going to be below a gallon an hour.
I'm sure Yanmar gave you some amazing numbers to say.
Oh, I'm sure they could give us all sorts of them, but without running it, it's hard to say. But I would suspect probably under a gallon an hour. It's only 35 horsepower. It's not a big motor.
Yeah,
like it's almost 100 horsepower. Like the bigger machines are 115s, right? Like this is a 35 horsepower engine. Like it's not a big motor on it, and we still at 35 horsepower have a lot of confidence in it working well.
Yeah,
which is really cool. Like most processors are well above that, right? So
yeah, there's a couple. They're saying around 1 gallon an hour or less than 1 gallon an hour. So
yeah, I would think you'd be in around there.
And that's where you're going to stay with Yanmar then with this?
Yeah, we have a couple of options. Like if we have to go to a bigger motor, Caterpillar Perkins has a motor that will fit around 47, 48 horsepower and around there. But I think we're going to be fine with the Yanmar at the horsepower that it's at. So
yeah. How many days left on the Yappa processor box wedge patent?
I have no idea. I have no idea at all. When you get into the 16-way wedge, it pretty well alleviates any kind of a box wedge you'd ever run on it.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing with it. Like if you run the box, there's a lot of back and forth. If you can just smash it through in one go, you're making the same piece. You're making the same size pieces. It's a no-brainer on that end of it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the same thing. Why do a box wedge when you can put a 16-way?
Yeah, right, that's exactly. Yeah.
Before that this is all new too, right? That 16-way was never.
Yeah, around. It was like we had a 16-way and like even the 12 ways and stuff. The back end of the processors, the way they are now, are far superior to what they've ever been and what you'd ever see on a North American processor.
Yeah.
Processor. But they're a lot better setup than anything else out there in the market right now, and I'm very confident in saying that. Multitech's pretty good though. Like the way their normal like 8, 10-way, 6-way back end is it. That's a nice setup too. The biggest issue I see with that is just how wide the blade is on it, right? So if stuff wants to peel out the sides of it a wee bit, but the biggest thing with it is not having anything around the inside of it for it to bind on, and then having when the wood does split, that it gets away from the wedge as quickly as possible. That's the name of the game with it.
Yeah. We got Mark. Cheers. Thanks for the super sticker.
Cheers, Mark.
Thank you. We've got Earth and Bloom. Where are you? Right there. 1.5 hours east of Toronto.
You got to be right next door to me then, almost.
Yeah, he can't be too far from you then. We got Noel, Garden Tractor and Firewood. Thanks, gents. Very interesting. Keep up the great work. Good night. Well, thanks for coming out, Noel.
Thanks for stopping out.
It's great. We got Bevan Moffat. What's up, Kev? He's got he's keeping that 20-footer cleaner busy now.
Yeah.
Brad, Dada's a pain in the ass.
Oh, they are. They are. Like, honestly, we complain about the MTO and stuff up here. I don't think it holds a candle to the DOT down there. Like, I don't know how anybody could truck in America. I don't get it. Like, every state, every county, everywhere has a different set of rules, and I don't know whether those lads need a quota to make for the month or whatever. Like, we've got stuck with some stupid things that just it doesn't make any sense why you get fined for that, or why you'd even get pulled over for what it was even. So, like, a good example, Jerry crossed the bridge. I want to say Port Huron or Detroit somewhere. He had the steel flatbed on the dually. He had 2 splitters on the dually. 2 splitters on the dually and 6 on the trailer. We went over the scales with that truck at 36,000 pounds is what the truck and the aluminum trailer weighed. They didn't even care about the weight of it. Didn't care at all. They cared because he couldn't see the letters on the side of the truck well enough. Who cares if you can stop it? Doesn't matter if you can stop it or not. I want to be able to see the stickers. I don't get it at all. It doesn't matter if it's safe. It just matters if he can see the stickers on the side of it.
Yeah, it's crazy what they. Yeah.
Oh, it was just like this, and that's what it was. Just like ridiculous stuff like that. In some places it's fine, in some places it's not. Like, it's.
Yeah.
So we just don't even worry about it.
James, have you thought about putting a counter on the number of cycles?
Not really, no. I don't think there's much of an advantage of it. Like, I've seen the other machines that have that, and I don't know. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense for me, but who knows?
Yeah, I'm not. See, now you would have a rough diameter of the size of wood with those sensors. You could actually do cords.
We could probably get really, really, really close with it. That's the other end of this. Because we've thought about that. We've thought if we can get to a point where we can actually measure how many cords of wood have come out the back of the machine, that would be really great for a lot of bigger operations. You would know what your throughput is in this type of wood or this wood or that wood or whatever. You'd know what your throughput was on it. And the other end of it too, the counter thing, you're going to know whether or not the guy that's operating the machine is performing or not. So yes, there are a handful of advantages of it, but I don't know if it's something that we're going to get into a whole lot right now, but you may see that from us in the future, but it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, I see an advantage of that. It's cycle time. I don't know. I see some of the other guys have that, and I'm like, well, what's the point though? Like, you have an hour meter. It's all saying the same stuff. Uh-oh. Oh, no, he's still there. Kev will need to be handicapped by running right-handed just to make things relatively fair. I don't. Bert can run that 22 MB pretty quick, so I'm not going to get cocky about anything here. Well, Gord, thanks for coming out. The Sandman is calling. Yeah, it's going to be awesome, Gord. You take care, and we'll see you on the next one, bud. Uh-oh. Andrew's gone. Oh, too much grape juice. And yeah, Earth and Bloom, you're right. One go, you split it, be done with it, send it on its way. But David was doing this. There we go. Andrew's back. He's a wee bit choppy still.
I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, I don't. It was just stopped. I'm like, oh,
Disappeared.
yeah.
I don't know what happened either.
Bucking, will we see an X-shaped splitter for rounds, camp and kindling?
That is the next project. I think that's when we hit the 40C, I'll tidy up. And that's what the guys are going to tackle kind of over the winter. So likely you'll see something out in the spring from us that'll do that. And again, I think we're able to do technology we have and have available to us right now. I think we can do a pretty awesome job of that.
Versus, you can come pick through our scrap pile if you want kindling. I got one, and I got my buddy Jimmy. He's got a great big one too. Buck and Firewood. I got an unsecured load ticket from the NTO in King City, north of Toronto, for dripping water out of my tailgate the day after it rained.
Well, you should have tied her down, really.
Oh,
you should have tied the water right down.
There's bigger fish to fry out there than water dripping out of a tailgate.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. But again, like, have a job to do, right? Like, that's the thing. I know for sure I wouldn't want the job myself, so I can't complain a whole lot.
Yeah. And we got this question again. Andrew, is a 16-way for processors only, or will it work on 37D?
We will try it on a 37D. I don't know how it's going to work yet, but we will give it a try at some point. We are going to play with it.
Yeah, Brad makes a pretty good MTO or dot. Some guys are all about being a superstar and forget about common sense.
Yep, I bet that would be a lot of it too. Yeah. I would think that would be a lot of it. I don't know why either. I have no idea.
Yeah, I've seen the same thing. A couple pieces of small bark on a log deck. They're writing tickets for insecure load. Every piece at that. And then there's guys driving around with skid steers and dump trailers with no chains on.
Oh yeah, I think the worst thing is the guy that's about 95 years old driving that 50-foot Winnebago, and he have no business doing it.
Yeah, well, exactly.
And he's towing a boat and a trailer behind it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I watch them go by at the cottage, and they're pulling ball to ball.
Yeah. You wonder how that would even go down the road with that, and it'd be okay.
I think you're all right. Fifth wheel to ball, you can tow, but you can't do ball to ball.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
There's like some rule like that, but even at that, like for a pickup trucker, like a 1 ton to do that, like no.
Yeah.
There's no business doing that.
No. Heath, I've seen people put a single ratchet strap over a pile of stone.
Well, at least it's secure. That's the main thing. That's the name of the game here.
Well, they say you only need to tarp a load if it's 2-inch or under size. Well, we always tarp our firewood loads. Like, it's over, but I don't want to be hassled. So just throw a tarp over, right?
Yeah.
It takes 2 seconds and...
Yeah, if I ever run a load of firewood, I throw the tarp over it anyways. It just saves the aggravation.
Oh yeah, 100%. Bert, I had a guy pick up an IBC tote bladders and they fell off half a mile down the road.
They can catch wind too. I would imagine they could catch some wind too.
We had a guy Friday, he came in for a face cord or cord of wood. So I put it on his little dump trailer behind his Volkswagen. And he's a yachtsman, so he just roped it. He just tied a rope over it, and it was good. I know how to tie knots, he says. I said, all right, you do whatever you got to do. And off he went. I'll hear the story next year, if anything bad happened.
What a carry on.
E. Downey. Hi, lads. I missed the first bit, but could you give us the price tag for the new machine?
It's going to be 105 or 115 with the conveyor, like Bert said there. He's one below him there, and Bert's got him.
Yeah. Earth and Bloom, same thing. Always tarp or dumps. Gives them less of a reason to pull you over. 100%. Keep a clean truck. Try to keep it painted. Like, keep the rust off it. Make it look good so they don't pull you over.
Yeah. Yeah. We always, like our log trucks here when Dad was running, we painted them every second year.
Yeah.
Every second year. They were, there wasn't a piece of chrome that wasn't polished on. They were washed every single weekend, spotless. So it was just, it made life a lot easier.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Keep them looking good, and if it looks like a piece of shit, they're gonna pull you over and they're gonna take a look at it.
Yeah, they're probably gonna be eyeballing it.
Yeah. Heath, I may have lost a piece of firewood or two while going down the road over the years.
I laughed one time I was going through town. I got a skid of corn or deer feed or something. It was a skid though, fairly tall, put in the back of my truck. And I'm driving through town, and I go around like the main street, you know where the Fox is in town here. Yeah. So I was going down Foster Street, I turned the corner, and I was heading back out like past the beer store, and I got the railroad tracks, and I looked back, and I'm like, what the fuck? The fucking load fell over. And it wasn't like 2 seconds later, I get a phone call from Stacy, because Stacy works on Foster Street right at the corner, right? And I can't even remember what the context of the phone call was. It was something like, I don't know. No, she didn't know it was me that lost this load. She called laughing about somebody that had lost a couple of bags of corn going on the corner. I had to tell her it was me.
Yeah, that's our corn. You better go grab that.
Yeah, that's exactly. Can you pull it off the street for me? I'll be right back.
Oh, that's too funny.
I would never forget. That was a good one, actually. I forgot all about that.
Yeah, Jeffrey's right. Or you paint them orange and blue. They leave them alone too. Looks like Keith had a problem losing one of Rachel's new chairs once too.
I hope it wasn't for the new kitchen, because that's a project right there. That's gotta get done.
That's too funny. He's too busy splitting firewood now to work on that kitchen. It's too funny. Brad, I stopped a guy one time who had a live cow strapped to the flatbed trailer. After I stopped him, I really wasn't sure what to do. I mean, the cow wasn't going to fall off. Yeah. It's a secure load.
I can just imagine pulling somebody over like that. Like, you'd be completely, totally dumbfounded on what to say to them, right?
If you ever want to get a cattle hauler wound up, just tell him he's hauling an unsecure load all the time. That gets him right riled up.
Well, I guess that alleviates that whole unsecure load, though, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Heath, I did lose a chair, but losing deer corn is worse. The deer have to eat.
Well, I know, and I felt so bad because I don't know what else they would eat if I didn't feed them. Things would starve to death.
We sent, so our neighbors, they'll go and help us. They're a couple old retired guys. So we had some cages, like totes, the outside cages. Go and pick them up. So they went and picked them up, and we figured they'd come back with 8 or whatever, one single row. They had them double stacked on this float, like car trailer. I'm like, they came in the yard. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Why would you put that many on the trailer? Like, just sketchy. I'm like, but they got them all there.
Though, eh?
Yeah. What's that?
They could tie a knot though, eh?
Oh, they had ratchet straps, thank goodness.
Oh, that's not so bad.
Yeah, it was ratcheted on, but I'm like, oh, that's... And they did it all by hand. Like, for a couple old guys, it's a lot of work for them, but... Oh, we're going back for another load. We're like, no, we'll get the rest. It's okay. You guys take the rest of the day off. Because I saw Bert, he had 32 on a gooseneck at 75 mile an hour and didn't lose
I
any.
haven't lost any yet.
The other question, too, with the 48 and 60, have you switched motors yet, or still sticking with Kubota?
We have one Kubota left.
Okay.
We have one left, and I think it's going on the machine that's going to the show in Ohio.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's going back to CAD.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is the CAD engines, before, like on the Bell's products, they'd buy an engine, like our distributor would buy an engine, and they would implement, they put the rad on, they do all the extra stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they weren't doing that well of a job of it. The new engines that are coming in are Caterpillar right from the rad all the way to the panel. Everything is Caterpillar on them. So the nice thing about that is if you need to get service on it, any CAT technician can work on it. It doesn't matter whether it's a rad that's bad or a panel that's bad, wiring, like it's CAT. And then that way they can actually service it. I mean, we've run into that with power units before, whether it be CAT or Kubota or whatever. It gets out in the field and a guy can't get service on them because it's not a Kubota, not a CAT part. We've even run that with stuff that's actually with the Kubotas before, where one fellow over in Michigan that was the really hard guy to deal with, and we couldn't even get a Kubota dealer to go 500 miles within him. Like I don't know whether he pissed every Kubota dealer off in the country or what, but
wow,
nobody wanted to deal with him.
That's crazy. What? How many will it be the same horsepower?
Yeah, I think it'll end up being like, I don't know what CAT's options are. I don't know, like 110, 125. I'm not quite sure. Like most of them, like the 3800 Kubota and the 33 CAT, they offer them in like 4 or 5 different horsepower levels. So it's just a different tune on them.
Yeah.
So typically what they do is they come out, they run the machine and see what kind of load is on the engine and then adjust it from there. And that's the tune they put on the motor. And that way your particle filters and DPF and all that stuff runs the way it should, right? So
yeah. Now, can they put like reversible fans on them?
I'm not quite sure if they do or not. I have no idea, but that would be really nice. That would be dandy for a lot of instances.
Oh yeah, that'd be super handy on those.
Yeah,
in those situations, even if it's a bit extra, like that, keeping that rad majority blown out. With a reversible would be awesome. Michael Anderson. I always tell my teenage son, no unsecure loads. I'll have to remember that one. That's funny. Where are we? Cat service solid. One of the best. So would that be a Percapillar?
Yeah, 100%.
It'd still be a Percapillar?
Yeah. Just depends on what color it's painted, I guess.
Yeah, because I know the one on ours, it was a combination of both, I think.
Yeah, and I think I don't know where the threshold is there when it switches from Perkins to CAD or or whatever, or even if there is one. But all the Cat engines we've ever had have been either branded Perkins or branded Cat, and it's the same engine.
Yeah.
But I think again on our end of it too, the supply chain is we're a lot better organized. Where before when we were running the Bell stuff, like we ran 6 different engines, right?
Yeah.
So like it was really, really difficult to pin down what you were going to run week to week, and then if somebody changed a machine or pushed one forward or somebody needed one sooner, whatever, it was always difficult to organize that. Where now it's not. It's very, very simple.
Yeah. How do you drive Canadian nuts? Ban television broadcasts of hockey games. That's gonna be
the last time I watched a hockey game. I have no idea.
I probably watched more lacrosse than I did hockey this year.
Yeah, I probably watched more I definitely watched more golf. I probably watched more baseball than hockey, I would think.
Yeah.
But that being said, Dad has season tickets for the Senators, and then I'll go down with Dad a couple 3 or 4 times a year, and hang out. There's a good bunch of guys that go down with him, so it's always a good night at it. So
yeah, need to get go to a Leafs game with him.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I'm sure people fight over those tickets.
Oh, I've seen fist fights there.
Didn't they change arenas?
No, they haven't. No. The Senators were sold last year. The guy just took over this week, maybe, and he bought the arena that's there. But they're looking at bringing the arena like downtown Ottawa, which I don't know if it makes a whole lot of sense. Like they say it's for attendance, but when the Senators were a winning hockey team, the place was full, completely full. But they haven't had a really great team for a lot of years, and like even Daddy, the season ticket holder for the last 20 years, the man's pretty faithful and loyal to them, but it gets pretty frustrating about February or March sometimes. So.
It's like watching the Leafs.
Oh, I have no idea how somebody would continue to cheer for the Leafs. That's a diehard right there. I have no idea.
Oh, I do. It's just it gets why I haven't watched a lot of hockey because they weren't like I watched all the playoffs, and that was probably the most hockey I've watched in years.
That's playoff hockey and regular season hockey is two different games.
Yeah,
I know they're trying to get revenue and all that kind of stuff, but like NFL is something that is neat to watch because there's only so many games in a season.
Yeah,
like it's not like they're playing four times a week, and it's like you've pretty well got a handful of opportunities to make the playoffs, and then once you're there, you're playing. Like it's a do or die. We're with hockey and baseball and stuff. But they bring how many baseball games in regular season, like 200 some odd games, I think it is.
Yeah.
In a regular season. Yeah. Who cares if you lose 10 of them?
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah. We got Bucking. Go Leafs, go. That's right.
Go Leafs, go.
I got backup now. We got Gauges in the house. The man. Hey, guys, hanging out with all your friends, I see. They're all my internet friends. Come on, be nice.
Yeah. Numpy.
What were you out playing guitar, Gage, or what? What were you doing?
You might have, and I think he was shooting guns yesterday. I forget what he said he was doing today. We had a beer yesterday. We had a good visit yesterday. We were both pretty excited about the new machines. So.
Oh, here we go. 184 games in a regular season.
I thought it was something like that. I thought it was a crazy, crazy number of baseball games in a regular season, and it just.
People in our neighborhood take Halloween too seriously. One guy has 2 coffins, and he leaves them in his driveway the rest of the year.
That's actually really funny. I'd be that guy.
Just start filling them with some roadkill.
We were just joking. I seen You know those like really realistic silicone masks you can buy?
Yeah.
I was gonna get one made of our friend's dad and wear it out.
Oh,
I
that'd
might
be
still do that. I thought Stacy wants to go as Ken and Barbie, so I think my arms twisted into that. I'll get myself into these things.
You're going as
That's been in the
Barbie?
last couple of years though, because normally at Halloween, Stacy gets like a theme. So like we did Curious George one year, we did The Incredibles one year, we did Star Wars, but she normally always gets my costume on Wish or somewhere of the sort. And I'll tell you, an extra large in Chinese isn't an extra large in Canadian. No, sir.
Uh,
There's been a couple of years where things were a little revealing. Maybe a little snug in some certain corners.
That's pretty funny.
Oh, some of them happen.
Good thing it's dark out. Are you still thinking about that? You're like, oh my goodness, what's going to happen?
Oh yeah, well that's kind of what I'm thinking. But I can't see Ken being. I can't see there being like a spandex suit to wear for Ken, so it should be all right.
Should be all right. Jeffrey Romers, XL in Chinese, I'd be screwed.
Yeah, don't think it'll fit you, big guy. Big man in a little coat.
Jeffrey Walton, I'm going as a beaver with a lever, Kev.
Beaver with a lever.
We were talking the other night. Instead of writing she, he wrote he. And he's like, oh my God, saying to his wife, oh my God, Kev's going to think I'm gay now. He's going to think I'm a beaver with a lever.
A beaver with a lever. That's funny.
Oh, I laughed at that. That was pretty good. I got yelled at. I was going to get a get well soon balloon for a raccoon on a road by me.
That would be funny too. That would be really good.
Oh, yeah. James, who's excited for Bunyan? Of course. Who is not? It's Bunyan. We get to see everyone. Everyone's showing up. It's all in one area. And I missed Boonville and the Michigan show.
The Michigan show actually turned out really, 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 really good. I was completely and totally shocked by it. We had a great weekend at it. Like Friday and Saturday were like genuinely busy, and Thursday, if there were like 5 people at the show, we sold 3 machines. So that was it was a good day for me. I couldn't believe it. It was really, really good.
Yeah. What has anybody heard? Is Dan doing a live stream at the Fairfield again?
Yeah, I think he's planning on it. Yeah, that's the game plan for that. So.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to catch it, so whether he was doing it or not, I figured they were all right with it.
We're hoping we're gonna be able to go over to it. There, we were at the Microtel this year. But okay. We're not. Dad and Cindy are staying home, so I'm not sure if Stacy's dad's gonna come and maybe we'll have the kids one night for us, or whether we'll be able to sneak out or not. So hopefully we can make it over to it. It was a lot of fun last year, so.
Yeah, I didn't make it last year, but it's in planning to make it this year. Looks like it was a good time last year, so hopefully I can make that. Circle B later, guys. Early morning tomorrow. Shameless plug. Axis is the greatest splitter ever made.
Glad to hear that.
Good night, man. Have a good day tomorrow.
Have a good night.
Well, Bunyan, what do you take bringing to Bunyan? You got the 40C and a 60C.
Yeah, we have a 37D, 220, 228, 12, 22, and Axis and Ultra, I think.
Axis and Ultra.
And a 32-foot conveyor, maybe. Big conveyor going.
Big conveyor.
Yeah, the guys that bought the 60C already have a conveyor, so they don't need one. But the guy that bought the 40C, he needs a conveyor, so
Yeah.
one to 32 behind it.
Yeah, nice. Is that staying in Ohio, that 40C?
Honestly, Kev, I have no idea where it's going.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure the 60 is going over into Indiana somewhere, and I think the 40 might be going to Pennsylvania. I'm not quite sure, but I think it's going to Pennsylvania. I don't know.
Not too far.
No, not too far at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to think. It's 40C. Because I thought I knew who bought that 60, but I can't. I thought somebody was talking about that they had it coming. Because I was talking to someone in Indiana.
I don't even know. I honestly couldn't tell you who purchased it. Jeremy's been dealing with some back and forth for probably 8 or 9 months there now. So
yeah,
it just came up. The opportunity was there to scoop that one up at the show and get it in a reasonable time. So
yeah. Who's Jeremy be at the show?
Yeah, Jeremy's going. Jeff and Patty are going. Mark's going. Jerry's going. Big guy. I think Big Guy is going to go. You probably met Big Guy when you were up here, Trevor. You'll recognize Big Guy because he's a really big guy. And he always the man is just such a sweetheart of a human being. He's worked for me for, I think he's probably worked for 4 years now. I don't know if I've ever seen the man without a smile on his face, ever. It doesn't matter what time of day, what's going on. He just and it's right ear to ear all the time. He's just such a nice guy. So if you guys see Big Guy at the show, tell him I sent you to say hello to him. And believe me, you won't miss him.
Yeah, I'll have to. I probably recognize him to see him. I probably saw him there.
Big Guy's probably got like an inch or two on me and like sturdy build, like farm boy kind of build.
Yeah. Huh. I'm trying to think. Because is he in the office?
No, he puts the processors together.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I probably saw him in the back then, working on the machine.
Yeah, he's just such a super, super great guy. He's just a great human being.
Yeah. I'd like to get up there before the show to see that. We got to pick up some stuff, or Fab Tech stuff, but I don't know if it's going to work in to the schedule or not. It's busy, like just crazy right now.
There's lots going on for everybody. It's hard to make a firm plan. That's all you got to do with it. That's a big thing. Is you gotta say we're doing this on this day, and that's that.
Yeah, you try to wait for a rain day, and other stuff comes up for that rain day, and it gets pushed back. And
100%, it's tricky to get everything done.
Yeah,
it's hard.
But I think I got everything covered here. What do you think?
I'm easy, man. I'm up for anything.
Anybody got any more questions?
If you have a question, by all means, guys, I'm more than happy to. But
we went through probably like a full hour talking about that 40, so I think a lot of information got out on that.
Yeah, there should be. If
anybody and the has fuel tank, that fuel tank probably lasts a whole week.
It will, yeah.
I guarantee that.
I think it will, and that's kind of the nice thing about it is if you want to take it out onto a job, or if you're somebody that has a fuel truck come in and fill your tanks up every once in a while, you can come and just fill the processor up and not need to.
Yep.
Like it should be easy peasy without having to screw around a whole lot, which is really nice. And again, it's like for us to put a smaller tank on, sure we can save a couple of bucks on it, but it's a tank that we have and it's a good sized tank, so
it's having a smaller tank on the 3,000, 4,000 that we had, having this big tank, it is so much nicer.
Oh, it is. 100% it is.
Like usually we can almost get that we don't have to fill it up with the truck. We can, while we're moving in the yard, we can run it to the tanks, fill it up, and then which is super handy.
Yeah. Other than that, that's kind of our thought on that end of it. And like a lot of places will have like a weekly or bi-weekly fill up with a fuel truck coming in. So if he just slips over and fills the machine up, that's quick and easy, right?
No, yeah, for sure. 100%.
Yeah.
But, well, I think we'll call this one. I didn't see any other questions, but not yet anyway. We'll write them down if we get any more.
Well, if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Like I said, Jeff or Mark or Jeremy will have to. And I'm pretty easy to find if you need to find me too. So,
yeah, for sure. Or even if you forget all those guys, Andrew's in all the Facebook groups. So, and Jeffrey, all those guys are in those groups anyway. They can answer those questions for you if you forget who they are. So, they'll be able to find you. But maybe the next live will be at Bunyan. I'll do one in the Eastern Made booth. How about that?
we could do that. That could be done. We could arrange that.
We'll maybe make that happen. We'll see. It's really loud and real busy, so
Yeah,
you end up talking to everybody, and it gets tough. But
yeah, it's a good show. If you haven't gone to it, it's definitely worth your trip down there.
And Bert, you ever consider making a neck on the fuel tank screen bigger so it drinks faster? Yes, you remove it when you fill it.
Yeah, and I think the thing with it too is like we just run a generic fill cap, right? And that's what we do. Is it's just a generic piece. It's not in the we really control the whole lot. So
I get Bert's point, like it's supposed to be there for a reason, but you're pumping fuel through a filter out of our tanks already, going right into the machine. So that's, if it's not stopped in that filter on the pump, it's too small, right? That screen's not going to stop it. So we always pull that screen out when we fill. It's the only way to do it.
Yeah.
The Kubota's the same. Our Kubota skid steers, it's even a smaller thing, a smaller screen. You got to do the same thing. You got to pull it out if you want to fill it up.
I don't think I've got one on my tractor. Actually, come to think of it, I think my tractor is just a wide open hole in it. Sure.
Yeah, the 95, I don't think had one, but the 97 does.
Really?
Yeah, that's pain in the ass. It's like a little short. It's only like the size of this can, a little bit thinner. It's just a pain in the ass. You can't fill it fast enough. But all right, guys, we'll call her a night. Thanks everyone for coming out. Appreciate all of you, and we'll see you on the next live stream. We'll try to get one in, maybe at the show.
I'm sitting here looking at the damn computer. The time on the computer says 9:07. But geez, that didn't go very long tonight.
Oh, I'm wondering where you're laughing at. I'm like, yeah, oh yeah, we went hour 42 I got.
That's hilarious.
You're missing 40 minutes.
I am. I literally looked down and it's like 9:07. Geez, that was a shorter one tonight.
All right, guys. We'll see you at the show. If not, maybe we'll have a live there. It was a great one. Thanks for stopping in, guys.
Have a good night, guys.